What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kind of Funny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
There's an order to things here, Greg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
An order to things that we rely on because we have a lot of responsibilities here to both our community, to both ourselves, and to each other.
And to Jesus
individuals.
Christ.
I walk in here, I see you in the number one spot over there.
Yeah.
That's usually Tim Getty's spot. I panic. I hold down the other side because, as we know, we're not going to get into it.
Tim sucks.
But there was a big kerfuffle of Andy trying to steal the outside,
end guy.
the left side,
He wants
right?
Middle
Being
guy
the
tried
end
to go be end guy. Yeah.
Yeah, middle guy, whatever, trying to step it up to the big show, to the end. I think the results have I think the results have spoken for themselves. Podcast views down.
I mean, look at it right now.
400%.
Look at the microphone obscuring his face, and he thinks he could be the end guy. This guy doesn't even know how to be on
What's
camera.
I'm used to the microphone being here, like on my right side of my face,
But you could,
where it's not covering me.
It's not on me. All right. We're using the big desk. If you're an audio listener, you probably don't even know. We're using the big desk.
You could probably hear the difference in the acoustics.
And you're well aware. If you don't shut the fuck up,
Keep going.
you're going to have that
Shut your
microphone
fucking
6
ass.
ways from Sunday, all right? We're sitting at the big desk, and when you do a real show on the big desk, the host always sits over here on the far right side. And so if I'm hosting the show, I come in, he's right. I'm not going to sit in the Joey seat. I grimace as if it was a Joey problem. I'm not going to sit in that seat because that's not where you host one of these shows.
Yeah.
Because the host is directing traffic, talking to everybody.
But that's
doing this
Tim's
thing.
seat,
You gotta
and
have
Tim's
the
not on the
clear-
show, so I'm supposed to be in that seat.
But it's
so then I had to sit
hosting
here,
the show is hosting.
But
We're,
then-
you're trying to bring Kind of Funny podcast logic
Which
to
is
the Kind
almost
of
like
Funny
what we're
stage.
recording
To the
today.
Kind of Funny stage. Well, what do you do when the stage doesn't match the show?
Did we ever have a conversation about that? Why are you sitting on the couch during the company podcast?
Nobody knows why we sit on the couch.
Tim
during the
sat
Kind
on
of
that
Funny
chair because he thought his hair and his shoes looked good from that angle, and you just said nothing. You let him take that from you.
It's definitely one of those things where I think with the couches, when you're in the couches on the Kind of Funny podcast, anything goes. You're sitting there, you're having a brew, you're
Freeform.
hanging out.
Freeform on the couch.
When you're at the desk, you are talking about major events happening in the video game industry.
Yeah.
And so then you have to be in this kind of, I have to direct traffic. I have to talk to everybody's show. Yeah, Nick Scarpino.
Does it make you
kindoffunny.com.
feel more authoritative? You have the authority when you can slam your hand on your wedding ring against the desk, you
Totally.
get the thumb and the high-pitched ting of the metal.
It's definitely one of the reasons I got married again.
Pretty cool.
You know what I mean? Because I had it, lost it, and I was like, you know what? This sucks not having it.
Yeah.
I need to find some woman. All right. And anybody. I'll cast the net as large as I can.
2 weeks later,
Are they in
rings out
Canada? Fine. Whatever. You know what I
Whatever,
mean? That's
whatever.
easier even.
Yeah, make
2-3
it
weeks
easier on
later,
yourself.
made it happen.
Of course, he's the Hispanic heartthrob, Texas Street, Latino heat. Clicking in heads, ripping them to shreds. The globe-trotting, head-shotting, rootin' tootin', three-point shooting, nitro rifle from twitch.tv, Andy Cortez.
Why am I so tired, man?
You don't sleep normal. You don't sleep normal.
I had a good long weekend of sleeping. Oh my God, I was napping
Are you
nonstop.
going to commit to this mic position?
Mic position?
Look at him leaned in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Looks like he's
You're
trying
like
to eat a
this.
freaking Italian beef. You know what I mean? That's with the juice
microphone
all over.
I thought you meant mic. Don't like mic.
No. It's the microphone's a little too high for you, and you're talking through your eyeball now.
Look.
Also, his pockets here inside out, like he's freaking Back to the Future too. You know?
Hey, you bastard.
that was that was Back to the Future 1, and he didn't say, "Hey, you bastard." It was when the Libyans were, killed Doc Brown. Bastard! We were talking off air about when I called my dad a bastard when we were playing in the front
Just
yard.
bringing off air content into on
Kids
air.
love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The hagglers right now, they're watching this. They're enjoying that. They like to peek behind the curtain.
Again, I don't know why I'm so tired though. Like I
What time
slept
did you go to
so
bed last
much.
night?
12:30.
What time did you get up?
Well, God, I mean, we had to fucking be here by 5 in the morning. Jesus Christ.
I think we figured it out.
About 4.5 hours of sleep. No, I don't know what time I woke up. I mean, it doesn't matter.
You
Why does that matter to what I'm
You get a
talking about?
screencast at 9:30, right?
9 o'clock.
9
But he was
o'clock.
at 9.
To wake up extra early for
Yeah, that was
one.
brutal. You're
Yeah.
probably. I think if I may,
Circadian rhythms.
I think just using. I'm just using my
My mind is
tools.
your mind.
My mind is your mind. My tools of observation.
Yeah.
Here. I think that you need to drink more Starbucks. That's why you're tired.
I thought about it this morning, and I was like, I'm going to order Starbucks, have it there.
Mhm.
By the
That's
time
what I
I get
did.
there, my worry, though, was like, I go from Succession into Games Daily. What if I get the poops?
Oh,
That was a legitimate concern of mine. What
Coffee doesn't do that for me. Everybody
Me
always says
either.
that. Yeah. By the way, of course, Christmas in May, Joey Noah.
I'm here. Hello.
I'm pooping on my normal schedule with or without the coffee. You know what I mean? My normal schedule is as soon as I'm awake. You know what I mean?
No, but I mean, okay, we're all pooping. But are you emergency having to leave the desk pooping?
No, no.
I mean, that's a legitimate worry of mine.
That, I
That
understand
doesn't
that
ever
doesn't
happen
happen
to
to
You
me.
have
me.
coffee in like your regular schedule, Greg. Whereas Andy, I don't see you as
Correct.
often of a coffee
Correct.
drinker. You know,
Absolutely right.
Andy, you live like me for 1 week.
Adjusted.
You'll feel great when you come to work. All right, don't worry about it. Have some wings in there.
Also, I did text Andy Cortez at 7:30 in the morning saying, "Hey, you heading in early?" And then he responded 15 minutes later is when I assume he woke up. So you were up at like 7:45.
Yeah, around there. Yeah. Well, was the alarm set for 7:20? Yeah. Was there a lot of snoozing? Absolutely.
Has to be sometimes.
A lot of snoozing. Yeah.
Does anybody at this table actually get up when your alarm goes off for the first time?
I do.
No, I usually snooze twice. I said it early.
But is that a
But
Ben thing?
For the yes, it is.
Or-
but it's also
or cold
usually. If there's a like if I'm on if I'm at a hotel or whatever, yeah. But like my alarm is, oh man, I made it to 6:45. This is awesome. Because usually it is 6:30. You know, Ben will be up moving around. Jen broke it out last night. You know, I'm gonna set an alarm for 6. Let's start getting up at 6. Are you in? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I knew exactly how that went. And sure as shit, alarm went off today. She snooze. Then my alarm went off at 6:45. I'm like, well, now you got to get up. Now it's not. We got to go. Stuff's happening. This kid's kicking the wall.
We have such a different life, you and I. Such a different
What
life.
time did you get up?
I usually get around 8.
No, really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Wow. On a weekday.
A weekday?
Yeah. Wow.
You said
I said on a
later.
weekday.
On a weekday.
I'm impressed by this. That's all.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, I said it to 8. Yeah, you get a couple snoozes in there, maybe.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing is that my wife has to wake up early, and I told her the other day, I was like, your alarm, because it sounds different than mine, signals now to me it's time to roll over and try to snuggle her and make it that much harder for her to get out of bed. Yeah, she does not like that. Sometimes she'll wake up at 5:30 and I'll hear it and I'll just go like slowly over to her, try to alligator it. You know?
Then you whip her around, wrap her up in the blanket, really lock her in. You know what I mean?
That's great.
I have nothing else to talk about.
Oh shit.
When are you going to bed?
Me?
Yeah. What's your night time?
Midnight is bedtime.
You go midnight. You get 6 hours of sleep a night.
Sometimes. There are other times where I get there and it is like we get to the end of the, Jen goes to bed and it's like, I forget, there's a term for it. And Joey, you and me don't share the exact same brain, but we share half
Twilight
of the
sleep.
same TikTok brain.
Yeah.
Where there's something that's like retaliatory staying
Yeah.
awake or something. There's a better name for that.
Yeah,
Where
I don't
it's like,
remember what it's called. but-
I'm tired. You force
You're
yourself to stay
fighting
awake. 'cause It's your
obstinate.
time and it's
Yeah.
my thing. I have a
all
lot
the
of
time.
that. I have a lot of, even last night, I think I might have. Yeah, last night was, I'm fucking staying awake and I'm playing Zelda. Fuck everything. You know, I know I'm tired and it's been a long weekend of fun
Take
times.
back the night.
Exactly. I'm
I
taking it back to
deserve
the-
this.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh, the weekend was just gross. It was just gross, Greg. It was.
See, this is why you're tired. It's because you lived a weird weekend and then you try to get into a normal schedule.
Well, I mean, I look at the Monday off and I go, wow, time to take advantage of this.
Yep.
And but it's not really that I was doing it on
Andy, you're
purpose.
barely to work at 10:30 any day. You could take advantage of this anytime you want. You take advantage of it. Your life is a wonderland for everyone watching and listening who has a real job.
God is an amusement park.
I mean, I'm just really slow up in the morning, like don't get mad at me that I don't have a kid, like
This isn't a kid thing.
No,
I
this
also
is
feel like
we've been ruined for having any other kind of job.
yeah.
there's not. Me and Nick talk about this all
But
the time.
also
If there was
3
just-
years work from home,
Sure.
getting to do all that
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
extra
Let
late.
me get the
yeah.
smallest fucking violin out. Me and Nick talk about
Yeah.
this all the time. We wish we could just reverse summer camp, y'all. Send you off to a real place of work. Go to an IGN, work there for a month, then come back and see how green the grass grass is here. Grass green here.
Sometimes I like to think to myself, this is how I legit fantasize about this. I say, what would Andy be like after 9 years under Fran Mirabella?
Sure.
What would he be like? Would it break him? Would it make him stronger? Would he never want to talk to any of us ever
He'd be
again?
back
Odds
in the
are,
RGV. He'd
option
be
three.
back in the RGV.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because we don't have we don't know boss Fran. So it's hard to
You guys are fun.
understand-
Yeah, weird, quirky Fran.
Which
I like how you dial
seems
it
like
back.
it'd be kind of fun to work with Fran.
You
I
guys
could
know
see-
fun. You know weird, quirky Fran.
Yeah.
Is there a fun Fran? No one's 100%
There's not a fun
sure.
Fran. There's not a fun Fran. Even when Fran's trying to have fun, you're like, I still think you're analyzing this too much, Fran. But yeah, it's true. I've talked about this before, but Fran and I's relationship changed night and day when I left. Like, it took a little while, but there was one time when I hung out with him after I left and we formed kind of funny. I was like, damn, dude, you're a really good guy. I gave you way too much shit. I used to torture him back in the day, as did Kevin.
Felipe Torres, yes, great question. I did work retail. Thank you.
Fair.
And you've
Yeah.
forgotten all of that.
Did have some
Oh,
really
100%.
bad jobs. Let's not act like I've just had
You've
this
forgotten it all.
lovely
Because you've been here
existence.
eating the big wheel of government cheese we got out there and just being a happy little rat, aren't you? You happy little
I
rat.
don't. I mean, I'm gonna say.
And you
this
go
is
home
where-
on your free time,
this
play
is a-
these games and watch these movies.
This
I
is
love it, but I don't always love it, okay?
Sometimes it just does feel like work, even though we know.
Yeah, you watch him at 2 a.m.
I gotta watch this Transformers fucking movie. Get us out of it, Nick. I don't want to watch
Oh, I tried.
Transformers.
I
I don't
tried.
want to watch Indiana Jones.
I tried.
I asked him the other day. I was like, "Was I really on all of the Transformers
Yeah.
and review movies?"
Couldn't tell you
He's like,
one thing
yeah.
that happens in those movies.
It's like, fuck, how did I forget all of them?
Greg, I didn't want to say this because normally we don't like to air out dirty laundry on the
This is how we get
podcast.
it done.
But this happened the other day with Andy, and I just think I should talk about this. Goes to the refrigerator, looks where we usually keep the beluga caviar, and says, "Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh.
There's no more caviar in this place." I quit. Threw
Where's
his
he
MacBook
taking
Pro
this?
down and just left in his Ferrari.
I can see it. I can
Yeah.
definitely see it.
It was rough. It was rough. But
What
it's
does
bad.
caviar taste like?
It's really salty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It
Just
tastes like
it.
kind of
What
tastes
is
like
it?
salty
It's
boba
fish
Fish
eggs, but don't get caught up in it. Don't make it
Oh.
weird. Don't make it weird. Why do you care?
on a little potato chip with some creme fraiche.
It's
Pretty
real good.
Yeah.
With some what?
Creme fraiche.
It's like a not so sour sour
Let's
cream.
just say sour cream. You know,
A little dollop of creme fraiche.
dollop of daisy.
So fish eggs with sour cream and onion dip.
You're missing the point. Very
yeah,
expensive
sure.
fish eggs. It's like $100 a little tin like this big.
You know those little like
Whose
orange
fish
eggs
does that
that are
belong
on
to?
sushi?
Who's
It's like
fish?
that, but a
God.
little
Bill's?
bigger.
Okay. Wasn't sure if it was like a popular fish.
I actually don't know where they get it from. I don't know what type of fish. I'm sure there's multiple.
Beluga?
Beluga makes sense. I said beluga.
There's
yeah.
there's
Is
beluga.
that tuna?
There's all sorts of different caviar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get,
Well,
I
you
mean,
know- you ever
if that fish is making an egg and they all are, that
You ever
could
get
be
the little orange balls on
yeah, the
top
ones
of
that
your
pop
Salmon
sushi?
roe.
sushi.
That's
I've
roe.
seen 'em.
That's basically like a, from what I understand, a similar form of caviar.
I've heard of them.
That's why sushi is so expensive.
You can get sea grapes if you want cheap caviar. What?
Yeah. Like a type of seaweed, I think. Almost.
I was talking-
adjacent. It looks like
I was talking.
I was talking to Mike about just certain lifestyles that people have.
It looked like you were fighting that microphone. I was talking. I was thinking, trying to punch you in the face.
Little
You know what I mean?
trousers just popping up.
And Mike was kind of just exploring the city one afternoon.
Sure.
I see it as.
And he was and he took a photo and sent it to me of people doing like those races on boats where they're kind of like on the boats that float above the water.
What other boats are there?
Submarines. He's thinking of submarines.
No, it's like they got that like stick in the
The
water. but-
hydroplane boats or whatever they are, where they
Yeah.
pop up a little
and
bit.
there's like
yeah.
one guy
Yeah, those are nuts.
kind of doing his thing, and how it was
Hydrofoil.
this big
Hydrofoil?
event sponsored by Red Bull, and
yeah, sounds about right.
it was like a big tournament over the weekend. And I was just like, I can't even. Similar to when I was watching the movie Social Network, where they're doing all the rowboat races,
Mhm.
where it's like I can't even imagine this as a lifestyle.
Sure.
What does this lifestyle look like?
I was reading.
What is the average salary of the people who are into this lifestyle that go to these races, these sailboat races on the bay or on the wherever, and it's fucking Red Bull sponsoring it, and you're like, oh, how do you even get into this lifestyle? Do you just have to be
Start
rich?
doing it, yeah.
Generational wealth.
What?
I think you have to have a
But,
lot of money.
what is? Well, but are you talking about like the sailboats or just the like the skimmers or schooner? What the thing? I know what you're talking about. It's just a one man thing, right?
Yeah.
That can't be that expensive. It's like surfing, where you know people
It's-
maybe they buy the surfboard and they buy a little.
No, but like
just
these
a little
people
bit
are
of
like
water.
in a league, and so,
Oh,
that,
okay.
so that's like a different thing to me. Where it's
Okay.
like I didn't even know there was a league for this type of
I
activity.
was reading a BuzzFeed article.
You love BuzzFeed. man.
2023.
I'm gonna be. You know what? Actually, it's worse. I was reading a BuzzFeed list. That's
Oh,
what I was reading.
okay.
Because I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of articles have been written about because Succession, the way they dress. There's no logos. There's no nothing. It's very dumbed down, but it's all like soup. It's like Brunello,
Yeah.
Genie, like all this incredibly expensive clothing, but you wouldn't know. And that's what
That's true.
like
true wealth.
So that's where they were like, there's a difference between like new rich and like generational wealth and like old school money, where it's like they don't want you. They drive like a Volvo and these things, but they're also taking PJs everywhere. It's a private jet. But one of the things that the article was talking about was like how you know people come from old money. You'll be like, yeah, you grew up playing soccer, and they grew up like either surfing or playing lacrosse or doing these sports that you're like, what the fuck? Like water horses? What is that? You know,
Yeah.
your horse is on the skis and they play polo on the water. What is any of this shit doing? Which is so weird to me. Like me growing up, I never even dealt with that level of wealth. I just was fascinated by my friends who were like, yeah, I grew up surfing. I was like, how? How did you surf? somebody took
Surfing
you,
can't be that expensive.
but somebody took you,
You
to
buy the
like
wetsuit,
the
you buy the thing,
beach
you're done.
at 6 a.m. Your dad's got to take you every day in the morning.
I think it's mostly the
surfing?
proximity to the beach.
The
that
beach,
you
yeah, it's like a
Sure,
whole
sure,
thing.
sure, sure.
I don't know. That was always weird to me. Like if I had friends that surfed, I was like, they were generally pretty wealthy because that means you could get, like if you're like walking down from your house to the beach,
Sure.
You're-
Fair
you're
enough. That's
doing-
fair.
yeah,
That's
you're
a good
doing
point,
pretty-
Good point.
pretty
I'll go
much.
with you.
But like,
Okay.
same with me with golf. I'm like, how do people golf? That's a lifestyle.
I mean, I thought
do they do?
I thought the same thing until
You guys have a golf team in high school?
We did.
We did too.
No,
We
we did not have a golf team, but we had like a tennis team and all the other expected sports to have. But like golf to me was one of those unattainable things that I only thought rich people did because I only saw ever rich people play it. Like I didn't know people like middle class people played golf honestly until I got hired at the golf course and I was like, oh shit, oh it's actually.
Yeah, these people.
Oh,
are
you
poor.
spend like $60 a round. Ooh, that is kind of a lot of money. I can see why only rich people play this, and maybe why it's not something you can go do every Sunday. Maybe it's something that's a little bit more selective. But yeah, golf was one of those things that I thought I only ever saw on TV. So that was like the rich activity, and it very much was a rich activity until I got a crazy good discount and I could play rounds for $10 at Longhorn Landing.
There you go.
Shout out ACC, Austin Community College,
They got it.
where the bright minds get together.
That's not the phrase.
It's not the same.
Do you ever think about that? I think I can still remember my high school stupid slogan for some reason. A great
Really?
place to belong, and become. That was like in their little recruitment video or whatever you had to watch. Yeah.
Your high school had a recruitment video.
No. Well,
I was on my high school
Oh,
recruitment
That
team.
does not surprise me at all.
Went around to all the little baby Catholic schools.
Yeah.
Told you why you should come to Loretto.
Sure. I did. Where'd you go to college?
I went in Southern California. Went to like a tiny Christian school.
Okay. Because I at Mizzou they have the tour guides who do. I could totally see you.
Oh,
doing
yeah,
that, where you have to
100%.
walk backwards,
Working
on
in the
campus and
admissions
talk about
office,
this,
yeah.
explain all this stuff. Yeah.
I ended up working in the alumni office instead because I thought that was more fun. But
At
it's all
any-
that same vibe.
At any point, did you ever think about like, what if midway through the tour, you're like, oh my God, and you pointed and then someone dressed as Jesus just like ran through. You're like, it's Jesus.
He comes here.
No, one of the other.
Because I would go to that school.
For that's a bad sign for us. that's
Well, she worked
that's
through the
not. Oh, I
Christian
should have rolled here. That's
Yeah.
I gotta go home.
The other
Say goodbye to
competing
people.
Christian university had a giant Jesus mural on it.
Badass.
So that was the competition.
think
We
you
didn't
know-
have that. We just always talked about how many palm trees we had on campus and how
wow.
friendly the squirrels were, and you could like feed them and stuff like that.
So
We
the
didn't-
squirrels were a main selling point.
Yeah.
of
Also,
going to
25
this
minutes.
incredibly,
20 minutes to Disneyland.
presumably incredibly. Wait, this is high school or college? that we're talking
College.
about? So it's probably expensive, right? Private.
Yeah. I mean,
private
yeah.
Christian
It was in Costa
school.
Mesa. Yeah.
And you're like, what are we gonna do? We got the mural and we got the squirrels. These are our two massive selling factors.
Is that
20
And we're
minutes
in
to the
most,
beach?
and we're well, as
20,
but
10 minutes to the beach.
I'm
20
gonna call
minutes to
bullshit on
Disneyland.
that because I went to UC of mine, the most and in the same city, the most boring city on the planet. No bars,
yeah.
no liquor stores,
But
one
yeah,
Del Taco.
you're a little hop, skip, and a jump to Newport and Huntington, though.
Yeah, this is pre-Uber though, so one of us had to either, designated drive or, let's be perfectly honest, risk it to get the biscuit, if you know what I mean.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Which is why 90% of my friends had DUIs
Yeah.
getting out of
It was
college.
a
Oh my god!
different time.
I can't think
bad.
of one friend of mine who didn't have a DUI. And
You
I was
still get
the
DUIs?
only.
Really?
like
What's
in
that?
college, like in like late high school, going to college, or like public intoxication, or
Being in public.
We got open container.
whatever while a minor drunkenness.
I got a
thing
minor
is called.
possession.
That's what it's
Yeah.
called. MIP. There it is.
MIP.
MIP.
I got a minor possession, baby. I had to go to Orange Coast Community College. That was the first time I realized I should have gone to OCC.
OCC.
Yeah, because I was like, damn, this college is like high school. But yeah, me and my buddy and I were doing screwdrivers on the beach, and we literally walked out, and two Newport Beach cops were like, "Hey, whoop, what's going
How
on
you
there?"
guys doing?
Yep.
I was like, "Damn it!" I
Yeah,
had to
for
go- I had
me,
to go.
it was my MIP came at Illinois State. We were visiting a friend Noonan. We went to a house party.
not real.
Yeah, no,
Really?
it's real. Okay. Yeah, Pat Noonan. And we left the house party and cut through a backyard to the next street over. And it was one of those, everybody's like, I gotta pee. And so I saddled up to pee on this tree. Poe went and peed on a van over there. And then I think Noonan peed over here or whatever. And it was one of those where
Noonan is just such a
Noonan!
college,
Missing Noonan!
a
Yeah.
college
Noonan,
movie gay, like a dude
It's
in
from
a,
Caddyshack.
The name in oh
Yeah,
really?
yeah,
Yeah, that's
oh,
the main
okay.
character.
Danny Noonan.
Danny Noonan. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I heard the car turn on two
Wait,
houses.
was it his real name then,
Yeah,
or was
the
it
real
just
Pat
'cause of
Noonan?
the-
Yeah, yeah. The car turned on 2 houses over, and I was like, all right, whatever. They're not going to come this way. Car started coming this way. I'm like, all right, what's the worst thing to do? They're going to say something. They're not going to stop. Stopped, rolled door open. All these cops came out like, what are you guys doing or whatever? And only got me and Noonan. Didn't get Poe peeing on a van on the other side, but came over to me, and it was one of those like, I turned around and I'm like, hey, officer. He's like, hey. And as I turned around, I had a beer in my pocket, open
Oh,
Keystone in my pocket,
Tough.
my jacket pocket.
Tough.
It worked out. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna get you for the MIP. I'm not gonna also charge you for peeing in public. And I was like, thank you, sir.
Yeah,
And
appreciate
then the Aunt Ellen Uncle Scott had just given me a birthday gift, so I used
I
that
wanna
to pay
rub
off
your
his
nose in it.
Never had to tell mom and dad about it at the time. And again, how old I am or whatever. Oh no, shit! This is actually I'm combining stories. It doesn't matter too much. I could have lied until it was all the same, but it wasn't. At some point, I got a speeding ticket, and what had helped me out here was when you got a speeding ticket in Illinois back in the day. I don't know how it is now. They took your license and they
Dang.
left you. No, you still could drive,
Oh.
but you had to carry the ticket with you, and that would be your thing, and you'd explain it that way. But I was underage. They took it. I had the ticket. Got
And
a
you got
piece
a
of
new one.
carbon paper. Put it down there and made the 3 in my birthday a 2, and then I suddenly had a fake ID. That was my ticket to the police.
That's exciting.
Wow.
Drank. I was living in
you're
hog heaven, man.
Next level, bro. You're like, let me get another ticket.
Yeah, I lost that one. Let me get the license back. Immediately I have to take it
Fucking
again.
ripping it
Whatever
through
I
the
was doing.
streets, trying to get arrested again.
Yeah.
Joe, I didn't realize that's why you were so much of a little Disney freakazoid. Because
Oh,
you were
yeah.
within such close proximity.
That was like a big selling point. I'm sure my parents were thrilled about that.
How many times have you been to Disneyland?
Could not even tell you. I had an annual pass
Holy
for like
shit, no
9
way.
years of the 10 that I lived down there.
What do you do when you go?
We just go in between classes. You go on a couple
What?
rides. Yeah.
So you just walk around
So
Main Street. smell?
because when I started my first year, I had like the second highest one where you have like you go like 300 days out of the year, I think roughly. Like they block you out some summer and during holiday, and it included parking, and it was like $350, and then you could just go all the time. And because most people were like, this is the first year we're going all the time, you just go ride a couple rides, come back, go for dinner.
Going in between classes is such a.
That's
You
bonk.
ditch class
That's
to go.
so weird to me.
I was gonna say, there's no way you went in between classes. You would go and then not go to that next class.
Sometimes we would come back because
'Cause
we had
it's
like
such a-
night classes and stuff.
But it's such an ordeal to park and walk, and get
Yeah.
crammed in and all that shit. It's
But
like I'm
not-
staying.
On like a Tuesday afternoon in October.
That's fair. That's
Especially
fair.
when you live close by. Like we only understand it from the perspective of like we've traveled to go there and stuff. But
Oh.
if it's just like down the road, you
Oh
know,
no, I mean I
Yeah.
lived like 10 minutes away from Disneyland for my entire
Yeah.
college career,
Mm.
and I
But
dreaded
usually-
going there. I was like, I don't want.
If you go at like 2, then you have like a bunch of people leaving because kids are melting down, taking naps and stuff like that.
That's fair.
You need the schedule to that.
yeah,
That's
like
amazing.
there-
That's pretty. Fair.
you knew to leave before the fireworks because then it was crazy to get out after. It's all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
all that-
I've been probably hundreds of times.
How many times you been to Disneyland, Andy?
Twice. Twice, yeah.
Good for you. Once to know
And
you didn't
then I
like it,
missed
and
the
second
start.
time just to sink it in.
I missed the Star Wars ride by a couple spots, and that's when Andrea Renee and John Drake got in, and they were the absolute last group allowed in. And we were like 12 spots behind them, but that day the ride was like shut down all day, and it was having a lot of issues. And then we were like,
Did you flip on him right
we'll
away?
come back in March.
Code.
Never did.
Little
Yeah.
thing happened. Little thing happened. Little worldwide thing happened.
Little viddy.
hmm
Mr. Worldwide. See, I would have stopped right there. They let Andrea and John and they cut the line. That guy works. I guess he didn't probably at the time. That guy works at Disney. He's stealing
didn't.
a customer's seat.
He did not at the time.
Boo!
You're like, he works at Disney. He's not even supposed to be in this park. Like, so that's not how that works.
Preferential treatment. I don't have it on my watch.
Like in my brain,
He's
it's
biased.
Like, yeah, in my brain, it's like entering a sweepstakes. Like you can't work for the company.
Yeah, for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, this is the Kind of Funny podcast. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table. Each come to talk about whatever it is they have going on in their lives and they want to talk about. If you want to talk with us, you can go to kindoffunny.com/KF podcast and give us your topics of conversation for free. And then you can watch us record the show live on patreon.com/kindoffunny, just like Madeline is, Cody is, and King Rabla are. If you're watching live, hang out, say some stuff. We'll put it in here maybe. Maybe I'll ignore it if it contradicts what I'm saying. I don't care. Of course, on Patreon, you can get each and every show ad-free. You can watch us record the podcast live as we record them, and you can get dozens and dozens of bonus content like Gregway, which I recorded in the car and forgot to transfer over to my thing. So I want to do this and do the old drop.
You're going to take the internet right now.
I'll tell you right now what I'm doing. It's called AirDrop. Doesn't use the internet at all, actually, Andy.
What does he use?
Oh,
Cloud.
Bluetooth.
Magic.
I don't know. I don't know. What two they talking to each other. They talk. I don't worry about it. Of course, you can get each and every episode of the Kind of Funny podcast with ads and not live over on youtube.com/kindoffunny and podcast services around the globe each and every week. Housekeeping for you. It's a huge week for youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Street Fighter reviewed. Diablo reviewed. Andrew Renee on the Xcast. And of course, there's a million streams going on, including some Diablo, including some Street Fighter, including a barbecue stream y'all did today, Nick.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Had a good time.
A great burger.
lot of
Nick
people-
did a great job. I feel like we don't give you enough props usually, so we're giving you a lot of props for this
I appreciate that. It was one of those things where I remember I had committed last week. Kevin's like, I don't barbecue. Kevin straight up said, I don't barbecue. Which
Which
Kevin
is
to,
so
one.
surprising.
So weird.
well, for Kevin to say that he doesn't do something and or isn't great at that thing is weird.
Yeah. We're not used to that.
Because you could be like, Kevin, there's this brand new thing that just started happening. I'm like, I'll fuck you up at that thing. I'm
Yeah.
the best at that thing
Do
I've
you
ever been.
think it's because he knows that we would never stop giving him shit if we got sick because he barbecued?
No, I think he legitimately has a humbled fear of barbecuing. He's like, I don't understand how it works. I don't want to mess it up. And he, in a rare moment of sort of vulnerability, he was like, I don't want to do this. I'd like to watch you do this. To which I replied, I'm going to tell you the one secret to barbecuing right now, Kevin. Pretend like you know what you're doing. Do you think our dads had any fucking idea what they were doing? No, they were sauced up the entire time.
Yeah.
And that's why you'd eat
Only
the
way to
burger,
barbecue.
and you go, "But that burger's great." And then you think back to those burgers, like those were fucking terrible. Your dad's my dad used to barbecue all the time. I looked at it. We barbecued this weekend. I finally looked at one of the patties. I was like, "Why is it spherical? It's spherical. It should be a disc." You know what I mean?
Oh, he was getting UFOs.
He's getting the UFOs. Yeah, he's getting the fly
yeah,
sauce.
you got to punch that middle down.
But I was basically like,
little
my general rule of barbecuing is make sure everything's cooked through. If
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah.
that's pretty much all you got to do. Because the condiments really and the bread and all that stuff really take care of the rest of it. We're not barbecuing ribs here, right?
Now again, this is coming from Kevin, who is not a barbecue enthusiast, right? But someone who enjoys in partaking.
He likes eating.
Yeah. And when Nick volunteers himself, I was like, yeah, I can do the barbecuing. Kevin just goes, "You gonna barbecue ribs?" To which Nick is like, "No, I don't know how to do ribs." Oh, come on, fucking barbecue ribs. he immediately became like the beggar became the chooser of like, come on, why don't you fucking barbecue ribs? What's the big deal? He got-
How hard can it be?
and then
I don't know.
And
The
then
problem
Nick,
with the ribs is just how time consuming.
and then Nick, I think he was talking to Cool Greg off camera or something. Like we're definitely just in the office working, and I heard him go, "Yeah, and Nick won't fucking make ribs." I don't know. It's just so funny. He just shifted roles so fast.
He was so scared when I took out the cold frozen patty and put it on the grill. He was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm putting the frozen patty on the grill." He goes, "You can't do that. Can you?" He got so excited. He's like, "Can't you?"
Kevin loves learning. So if he
does
can
love
learn
learning.
something new, yeah.
He was like, "Wait, what is that?" I was like, "Yeah, this is what these are for." And they actually cook, in my opinion, and you correct me because you've done a lot more grilling than I have. They're easier to cook than raw meat that you've done yourself because they don't stick to the grill as much. Plus, I got spoilers. It was like 65% meat, 35% fat,
Yeah,
mostly fat. You know, so just, and you get that gristle, you get that
Sure, yeah,
sucked
yeah.
in stuff. I was like, "Yeah, I think." I was like, and then I was like, Kevin always quizzes me on everything. So I've learned with him to never like go so hard on thinking I know something because more often than not, it's like 50-50 with me.
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, that's the thing. And then he's like, really? And I'm like, oh, now Kevin's going to prove me wrong. And that's my least favorite thing on the planet. So I was like, I put the thing on it. Close. He goes, you can put those things on frozen? I was like, 100%. Grab bag.
I was gonna say, you go read somewhere else.
Yeah, it's right there. Just put them on 15, 10 minutes. Boom. And he's like, wow, really? And then Kevin grabs the bag and looks. He's like, damn, you're right. I was like, knew it all along.
It's a lot
No
of. He's
doubt.
got a posture a lot of times barbecuing. Yeah, he's push on through it. Be done with it.
Well, my favorite thing is he was like, wow, you're really he's like, wow, you're really a master of like where you're putting everything. And I was like, and again, Nick's rule number 2, just keep moving shit around. Move it around.
Look busy.
Look busy.
Look busy.
The activity of it all.
Yeah, but you command it like you would command a boat, right? You stay at the wheel. Everyone else has to go do stuff that you want to do.
What would I do on the
Bye.
boat?
You would swab the deck a lot.
By no means impossible, but it's hard to fuck up burgers and dogs. You know what I mean?
Dogs are already cooked. You
Yeah,
just warm 'em
exactly.
up.
Warm them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you like them? Personally, I still like them boiled the Chicago way. So it's like when I get over there and I see them on the grill, never been my thing.
I like when they have
Really?
the
Yeah.
little burnt bubble
Yep.
that cracks.
Yeah.
That's how I like my dogs. I don't
Sure.
like them dry.
No, you don't want them dry.
Not like so dry that they're not.
crispy.
I want them crispy on the outside.
Sure.
you know?
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah, I like them steamed. I don't need that, but I'll do
Hey,
it.
Chicago
Jen
is
likes them that
weird.
way. I made a bunch of burgers. I've been making wings on the grill this season. Now the grill season. Actually, by the way, too, thank you to our Patreon producers, Nathan Lamoth, James Hastings, and of course Casey Andrews.
Thank
They were brought
you.
to you by BetterHelp, but we'll tell you about that later. I've been grilling my wings this barbecue season. I'm telling you, that's the way to go now.
When you grill the wings, do you use the plate, like the little metal sheet thing, or do you just put them straight on?
Using
Straight on the
indirect
grill.
heat, doing indirect heat and doing that. So basically I think it's 2 minutes on each side to get the nice grill marks on a medium high thing. I have a 3-burner at home, so I'll go on the 2 sides, medium high on it, and then leave the indirect off on the center. Then move them there and let them go 15. Flip them once, then sauce them, put them back on the direct heat, get that nice locked in.
I had a interesting experience this weekend. I went down to see my folks for the first time in a while. We barbecued. It was great. Saw some friends of the family, which was great. Haven't seen them in years. Next day, my mom is like, I'm a little tired. Do you guys mind just coming back over? We'll get some breakfast. We'll hang out at the table, watch
Sure.
a movie or something. I was like, sounds freaking great. Fantastic. My brother's like, do you have what you need? And of course, it's my mom's house. You could cook for the next month and not run out of food in this woman's kitchen,
Yeah.
right? But she's like, bring whatever you want over. My brother's eyes light up. I'm like, what do you got? What
He
is
brings a
what's
goat.
Mhm.
what is this?
Dig a
thing?
hole. We're making a goat in the front yard.
Air fryer, hash browns.
Oh,
Have you had this yet?
No.
Are you an
but I
air
can
fry
imagine.
guy yet?
No.
My
I
brother,
have too many.
right?
I have too many countertop devices that are also then stored away.
Do you have a microwave yet?
Yes. yes. Ben made sure we went full suburban. We have the microwave. Don't worry.
Were you anti-microwave for a while?
Not anti. It was just like the old place had one built in. All the
Yeah.
apartments I had them built in, so we didn't need it. So then when we moved to the new house, we didn't have one. And we're like, we really don't microwave this stuff ever. So we did it. And then Joey came to dog sit Porty, I think, when Ben was being born. She's like, is there a microwave here?
I was
no,
like
we
opening
broil
all the
everything.
cabinet.
Just broil everything.
Things about this big.
Yeah. See, that's my thing. It's
It's
huge.
Huge. Brand called Ninja,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Ninja.
which I think
The
they make
blender.
the
Blender,
blenders as
yeah.
well, right? Well, they make this air fryer. Andy, have you experienced the air fryer yet?
We have one at home. I just seen it like sit there though. I haven't seen Barrett or Alyssa use it.
I'm
We
like-
use it all the fucking time.
I don't see it as you're doing it because I
Because
don't
you
leave
never
my
go
room.
in the kitchen.
Turn your mic off. Go ahead, Vic.
It's great. You should watch him do
Yeah?
it because it is. At first, my brother was like, "I'm just gonna make 8." And I was like, "That seems like a lot of hash browns." And Matt's like, "Sure," because I'm like, I go there. I try not to eat my freaking face off when I go down there, and I fail every single
Face
time.
off.
Face off. So I was like, "Just make me one. Just make me one."
Mhm.
I bite into this thing, Andy. It's crispy. He uses avocado oil.
Oil, yeah. Higher
So
burn.
Higher burn, so it crisps it up really good, but it doesn't feel oily. It's just
Higher
crispy.
yield.
And my brother's just watching me. He's watching me. He's watching me put the eggs on one by bite. He's watching me savor every single one. And then finally get to the end of it, and I look up and I just lock eyes with me. He's like, "You want another one of those things?" I was like, "Yes, fuck, throw 'em in."
So was he making the patties, or was it like he
No,
frozen
he
ones
buys them.
tossed them in?
Apparently,
Trader Joe's one?
this shit hit so hard on TikTok that you can't get them at Trader Joe's anymore. There was like a shortage for a while.
Like they were selling out every morning when
They
they
did. No, he goes. I went to buy these the other day, and it did the egg thing where it's like one per customer. And he was like, "I'm gonna bring
Oh.
other people." He brought like his whole company, and they just keep buying one of them. It was wild. It was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, but that wasn't the best thing about my weekend. Get home after eating dinner, and of course we're like, "What are we snacking on?" Right? It's a family outing, a Scarpino family outing. We're gonna watch a movie, watch Air again, which is fantastic.
Love
If you
it.
guys haven't seen it, one of my favorite movies that has come out this year or last year. Who the fuck knows? The Air Jordan story. Matt
Yeah,
Damon,
Air.
Ben Affleck, great.
Haven't watched it.
My sister-in-law, you should watch
Air
it.
fryer.
It's really good. My sister-in-law goes, "Would you like some movie popcorn?" And I was like, I got excited because I was like, "Are we going to the AMC
Buy the
just buying popcorn and coming back?" She goes, "No, I got you one better." Again, I'm like, I don't know where they get these things from. Goes to the garage, gets this massive popcorn popper with the little thing in the top that pops it over,
you flip it over.
flips it over, pours it in. You put more. I mean, it looks like a big popcorn popper, but if someone shrunk it down with like,
Like
Doctor
an Ant-Man
Strange's
thing.
Doctor Strange's thing.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I think.
It's an Ant-Man
You
thing.
do
I
the
said
Ant
Doctor
thing?
Strange. It
You-
didn't come
you
out.
say it.
Well, you're,
He
you're
has-
saying Doctor Strange, but you're doing Harry Potter.
Scott, we have to make the popcorn popper.
Yeah, we don't want to leave the house. Scott. I kid you not. She had all the ingredients that you needed. The coconut oil.
Okay, with all due respect, if
The-
you have a shrunk down movie theater popcorn maker, you better have all the accoutrements.
But dude, here's my thing though. It's not like you think you have that, right?
got
You go, oh,
pickle?
you're just gonna pop the popcorn and then you can put some butter on it or whatever. No. It's like she brought out some shit that I'm like, you got to go to
Was
like.
it like that carton of like butter salt stuff?
No, it's an industrial jug of the shit they use that they don't even sell to the public. I'm like, how did you get that? You have to go to
I
like
know
a
people.
where restaurants sell things to sort of store to get that. It's stuff I've never seen in a store before. In my
It's
life.
like Goodfellas. You're in the shower and you're listening to the radio and you hear about this movie theater heist.
Yeah.
An
Lufthansa heist.
An AMC truck's been
AMC.
stolen at SFO. You're like, yeah, slamming on the wall.
Oh my god! And the smell of it, right when all of the ingredients started mixing into it, I was like, that it smells like a movie theater in here. And I ate. And then she got. It's my brother and her. They come from a theater background. Goes into the cabinet, pulls
The
out
things.
the buckets.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
you gotta have the buckets. Yeah.
Gotta have the buckets that say movie theater popcorn on it, and makes me a big bucket like this. And I was like, how do I get?
Did they have like the Raisinets and the bunch of crunch in the boxes and stuff? They got the fuck-
No, but I will put that on there.
Nick
Yeah,
is
like
like,
Christmas
Nick
gift.
is like, I'm
Christmas gift.
so used to
Comment
stealing
card.
popcorn from Andy. I don't know how to eat this.
No shit. I had a moment where I was like, I wonder if Andy would bring me some twang right now. And then I was like, I'm in Orange County. That's not going to happen. That's a bit of a drive for him.
Nick, I mean, I brought some out here. Greg is taking it to the movie theater later.
I knew you can't be trusted to bring it anymore, so I made
He
sure.
brought it last time.
I did.
That one time you failed, remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like
No.
when Joey got booked the small theater, remember?
Yeah. We've
Now,
all had our failures.
Let's
Go
keep
ahead,
these
Greg.
good vibes
Right.
going and roll into Zaid Wilson's question. Of course, Zaid wrote in for free at kindoffunny.com/KF podcast, just like you can. And of course, we're short the one and only Tim Geddes right now because him and Blessing Adeoye are in LA preparing for the actual red carpet premiere of Spider-Verse, whatever it's called. I have not committed to memory and I refuse to.
Across the Spider-Verse.
Thank you. I refuse to. It's
And
already
then the
gone.
third
I want
one's
you to
called
know.
Spider-Verse. No way verse. No way, Jose.
Spider-Man, no way, Jose.
Not here.
Zaid writes in and says, with the new Spider-Verse coming out this week, what got you into Spider-Man? And what have been some of your defining pieces of Spider-Man or Spider Media, because that's a good one, in your life? For me, it really started with the Ultimate Spider-Man comics run. I just moved to the States, and my local library had nearly every volume, and I took full advantage of it. For favorite Spider Media, it's got to be the Ultimate Run, the Web of Shadows game, and the Spectacular Spider-Man series. I appreciated this question as we are on the edge of the Spider-Verse.
We're in Spider season.
I was better. Mine was better. So
Why are you guys all doing the tongue thing?
do it with us. It's fun.
No, I don't like this.
Come on, Joey.
I don't think.
Joe,
no,
come on.
I don't like
Baird, bring that big ass tongue over here, Baird.
Hold on, he's coming. He's coming. He's coming. He's
Bring
coming.
that big ass tongue.
Another
over
Web
here.
of Shadow fans right here too.
Oh man, you should have had it like
right, here
ready. He should have had it cropped on his where it gets bigger.
2, 1.
I wish.
Joey!
Oh,
No,
man.
I hate
Come
that.
on,
Be a
Joe.
team player.
I don't want to do the weird tongue thing.
Joey, what got you into Spider-Man? Do you consider yourself into Spider-Man? Do you have
I
a
actually
different
don't
Spider-Man
really.
story?
I don't really care about Spider-Man that much.
Wow.
Like y'all, I think Spider-Man on MC in Review is like a little ranked pretty high compared to where I have it. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. It's like kind of a net neutral in my life.
Sure. Okay. Joey?
Joey just has bad taste, bro. Come on, bro. What? She thinks Wall-E is a bad Pixar movie. Like, come on, Joe.
I don't think it's bad. I just think it's kind of boring.
Oh my god.
What are her thoughts
She's
on
not wrong
Hulk
on that. I
versus
mean,
Thor?
whatever. One robot loves another robot. It should have been Johnny 5.
Joe, what are your thoughts on Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton versus Thor?
Hemsworth.
Which is better?
Which is better?
Oh, I think it's Thor. But like, I haven't seen Hulk in so
Correct
long.
answer.
You're
That was
back,
the
Joe.
right
You're
answer.
back. She's back.
That was the worst high five in the history.
And she's
Um,
fucking back.
The 80s got me into Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man was one of the few superheroes that actually like penetrated into the mainstream of the 80s,
Sure.
right? I remember reading Spider-Man cartoons and cartoon strips in the Sunday.
strips.
Yeah, remember those?
Yeah.
And I remember being like, I don't have any context for this. I haven't been following this. I would forget, so I wouldn't read them for like a month. Then I'd see it again and be like, oh my God, this is a superhero in this thing. And it, it's like 4.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Mary Jane Watson went to get us coffee, and then it would end. Like there's nothing else more to this thing, right? But I just remember that, and then when the 90s series came around, the animated series, I was like, this is the most special thing ever.
yeah.
Because they just didn't anything other than that. I think there had been one prior to that was just terrible. It was like 1 frame per second animation. But yeah, I loved that so much. That's when they're continuing that, right? Or was it the X-Men?
X-Men.
X-Men they're continuing.
I'm sure they can't be far behind on that.
Probably not. But that was just so well done. So
Yeah.
that was that. I never read any I don't think I've ever read a Spider-Man comic. Maybe at one time I bought like Wolverine Cross Spider-Man in the Louisiana Bayou or something like that. I'm like,
Yeah,
this is
okay,
cool,
okay.
but yeah, comics not my thing. Just the animated shows.
Yeah, it's a fascinating question from Zaid. For me, Spider-Man has just been around forever. It's the same of like, when did I get into Superman? I'm like, I don't. He's always was there. He's always been there. I've always cared about him. I think even before I had memory, I was into it. Right. For Spider-Man, I think my first definitive memory would be that I had Spider-Man shoes. I remember as a little kid, probably right around where Ben's at now. I had Spider-Man shoes that I adored. I remember I had a
You're
Spider-Man,
about 3 foot
Sp-
10, 4 feet tall.
had a Spider-Man backpack for kindergarten. I remember, to get into more like detailed stuff. I had an interest in comic books in a very probably the same way every kid did or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then Mike Boylan's brother was really into comics, and this must have been like
Classic.
first grade or whatever. And so I was on the bus being like, I have comics or whatever, and he's like, oh, bring him in. Like, and he's totally like placating us to being nice. Like, all right, cool, bring him tomorrow. Let me see what you got or whatever. And I only had like 2, and one of them was this whatever, bought at Jewel Osco, the Spider. It was a Spider-Man Incredible Hulk book. I don't know what was going on anymore or whatever. And I remember having it, and I was like, I'm a first grader or whatever the hell I am, right? And I remember having it, and it was like, it wasn't bagged and boarded or anything. It was just loose. And I was like, oh man, like comics are cool to people because they're old. And this is in too good of conditions. I like wrenched it and like I fucked it up. It was
Yeah.
worthless.
Yeah.
But I brought it in and showed him, hoping to impress him. And he's like, "This is garbage. Why would you treat a book like this?" Like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of, for some reason, that little interaction set me on the path to being a comic collector and really getting into it. But even then, like, I'm buying random ass shit. My parents are buying me random ass shit. And I remember it was in terms of Spider-Man comics, what turned me into a true webhead or a Spider-Man fan, right, was Spider-Man #1, the Todd McFarlane book. And I remember it was I started buying the monthlies on my pull list with my dad, and it was still single digits or whatever. And I remember being like, "Oh, this is really good." And it was it's the whole run of him fighting the lizard and all this stuff, and Mary Jane. And it was like I remember convincing my dad that I was into comics enough at this point, into a collecting part of enough to get #1, polybagged, the black and silver cover, I think, or whatever, print, whatever, pristine condition.
You got the battle pass sort of thing.
I didn't open it. It was like I already had him or whatever, and that was what set me on and really getting into Spider-Man and knowing him. And so it was what's always been interesting for me as Spider-Man's blown up is that I feel like he's a character I know so well because I fell in love with that run, and then of course got obsessive comic book Greg about it and went back and like I'm buying the encyclopedias of Marvel knowledge in 60 years, and you're going through and I'm learning about Gwen Stacy's death and all these different things, blah blah. But for me, Spider-Man was this married guy. You know what I mean? Like Spider-Man in the Todd McFarlane book, he's already married to MJ. He's, already the photographer for the Daily. Like it's all this stuff. And so when it became this thing that so many people knew Spider-Man as, oh, well, he's just this high school kid. He's this dweeb. I was like, what? Like that was just never my interpretation. Spider-Man was always an adult. He was always, he was super strong. Like everybody made fun of him, but like Parker Luck and all that stuff, like it wasn't a thing.
Well, even in the '90s cartoon, like that's my touchstone too, where he was like in college and he was jacked and tall. And
Yeah,
you're like,
and I
wow,
mean, the
I'm
90s
like, nothing's
cartoon
wrong.
definitely it was like such a pivotal moment of like falling in love with Spider-Man and being a part of that.
Yeah.
And watching
Were they in high school or college?
in the '90s cartoon. Was it late
In
'80s?
the 90s,
no 90s.
'90s, yeah.
In the 90s, I thought they were in high school.
I think he was in college because he called him
might
Professor
start-
Connors.
Yeah, I think it might do the classic starts in high school and transitions
Yeah.
over at
Gotcha,
some point.
okay.
I don't
remember him
remember. I
look-
remember watching, but I remember him having relationships with Gwen and MJ and,
Yeah.
and obviously Venom and all that jazz and
The
stuff.
Yeah.
series follows Peter Parker, a college student at Empire State
Yeah.
University.
So he's like they aged him up a little bit for that, and to me, I think that obviously it's different type of storytelling there, but I think the stories we're getting now, I think, are a little bit more fun with,
Oh, of
with
course.
Peter being in high school and dealing with growing up and not knowing who he is by the time he gets to college. That's pretty fun.
No, yeah, I think that's what's so powerful about Spider-Man in general, and I think what Spider-Verse, the first one, right, did so well in terms of like anybody can wear the mask, and like Spider-Man works because he is this character you can connect to on so many different levels. But it's always just been hilarious to me that like so many people, I saw myself in him as this dweeby kid. I was like, I didn't see myself in this ripped photographer with his hot wife and his skylight that he got to come in through. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, you know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
that was such a big part of it. And then obviously for me, toys were always it. I think before I was reading or consuming stuff like the Spider-Man that had the little guy that you pull out the center chest piece and it was a web and then his body would retract to it. And stuff.
I had that, yeah.
As hell.
I
And then
had
just how
that.
cool Symbiote was, Black Suit in general, how cool Venom is, like all that different stuff. Like there was so much to get pulled in by.
There was like a lot of old media on television for me that I wish I had a time travel to go back and see how the hell I was watching these things, because I don't know where the hell they would have possibly aired. And I think of my brother and I somehow watching the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, the Mega Man cartoon,
Mega Man.
the live action version of Captain America.
Yeah.
Back in the early '90s, whatever that was. Like
The
it
movie
was.
or the cartoon?
I don't know. It was live action, so I don't know.
That was, I
what
want
it
to say,
was.
not early. You might have been watching the early 90s, but I think that was syndicated from like the late 70s, early 80s.
Very possible.
Because there's a Spider-Man run of like terrible Spider-Man movies
Yeah.
that I also remember. Like it would be so cool, and WGN would show them at like 1:30 on Sunday.
and it was definitely way too early in my life for me to have like actual formed memories of it. I just have these glimpses of it, right?
Yeah.
And I think of so it's not only those properties, but I would say definitely the Fox Kids run of Spider-Man, the 90s animated was that for me. And that was when I didn't really, again, know what comics were. We didn't really have comic shops. I didn't know those were things. I thought those was shit that happened in movies. And then I remember getting really into Spawn because it was on HBO.
Oh, yeah.
Spawn. That
And
series was
that-
so good.
The
Keith
animated
David.
cartoon on HBO was like so cool and like edgy to me, and I just thought it was the coolest shit.
It's still good.
And I just remember seeing like Todd McFarlane, and just like you, Greg, I was visiting my cousin in Arkansas, and he would go to comic shops. Like, oh my god, this is my first time in a comic book shop. I didn't know these fucking things were real, and I bought Todd McFarlane Spider-Man comics because I recognized the name, and obviously
Yeah.
I was a fan of Spider-Man at that time, and I would like record the episodes on VHS and shit. But like just seeing the name Todd McFarlane was so cool to me that, oh my god, he's drawing this guy too. I didn't ever know that there were different runs, right? Like I didn't know, is this Spider-Man the same as that Spider-Man, or is this a different
Yeah.
interpretation? I just thought it was always the same dude, right? So I didn't. The idea for me was always like the quippy, sarcastic student.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
thing with that with the PlayStation 1 game as well. Like just having that sort of sarcasm, that was always like he's the cool Spider-Man guy because he's a sarcastic asshole to all these bad guys. So that's where I really vibed with Spider-Man as a character. And then it kind of just, you know, that love just kept on going with the Tobey Maguire trilogy, the Raimi trilogy, and then fell in love with Andrew Garfield, even though those movies are pretty bad, but
No.
he's so good in them. God,
good
he's so
enough.
good.
Do you remember the HBO Spawn where every episode Todd McFarlane would like walk out and introduce it?
No.
They're like, Spawn does this, and maybe it's
I
that.
remember.
If I swear to God, I have that vivid memory. Maybe I just made that up and confused it with like the Crypt Keeper or something like that. But like,
That's really, the
I
Crypt
s-
Keeper did that, yeah.
I swear to God, there was episodes of Spawn that would start, and Todd McFarlane would be
possible.
like in his lab, being like, "Oh yeah," and it would be like very scary and weird. But I'm gonna look that up.
But you were like,
I had a big
in
struggle as
for
a
it.
kid, you know, being such a DC fan. That if it wasn't, is
Yeah.
it right here? All Spawn McFarlane intro.
Yeah, they used to be like this. This
What
is
a
what he would
great
do.
idea.
Oh my gosh.
I don't
like-
remember these at all.
It's like Jonathan, what's his name?
I think it was honestly a way to pad out some time. So they did because the Spawn animation style was so good.
I mean, it was
that must
also
have been
brilliant.
insanely
It's
expensive.
brilliant in terms of branding and making yourself a name. Like Todd McFarlane.
Oh,
you
yeah.
wanna talk about a guy who you
That's smart. That's true.
You're going to talk about Stan Lee's and stuff. You're going to eventually get to a Todd McFarlane. Comic creators are historically right behind the scenes and hidden away. You don't know who does what. It's one of the big problems with the MCU and DC stuff in general. Well, MCU, James Gunn's trying to do a bunch of better stuff with the DC nowadays, but in terms of like the people who made these characters that you know and love, or maybe don't even know, but are getting introduced to, like a Miss Marvel, right? Like they're not getting credit for who they are. It's like, you know, it's a Marvel property. It's not a person's property in the way Stan Lee was there. But Todd McFarlane's been ahead of the game forever on that.
We watched Into the Spider-Verse, and they have a couple nice quotes at the end of it. But one of them was like thanking Steve Ditko.
Yep.
And I was like, couldn't pick him out of a lineup.
Sure, of course.
No
not.
idea what
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
like.
exactly. Yeah,
Even
yeah.
though I've seen the name multiple times because it's on everything that's like Spider-Man related.
Who created Batman?
There's the two guys, right?
Yeah.
There's Alfred and Martha.
We're looking,
No,
I wasn't
Bob Kane, and I haven't watched that documentary about the other guy though. Fingers McGee.
Bill
Bob
Finger.
Bill Finger.
Bill Finger.
He's like this,
So
and I was like,
close.
uh-oh.
And that
my
wasn't me
favorite.
quizzing you like a fake fan. It's just like I think it's one of those things that it's a very small group of like who you can actually identify as the people who create.
What is the story with Finger? So Bob Kane just kind of screwed him over?
I mean, yeah,
Who
I mean,
knows?
yeah, a little bit, right? Where it's like it just got rolling, and then I think there was this whole thing of like, well, I'm saying I'm the one who's getting it and talking about it, so it is that thing, and then his Finger's family really pushed of like, hey, it was really a thing, and yada yada. Like,
Yeah.
and they eventually got it with.
Well, now they've got it right, yeah, because now he's like credited on.
Yeah, of course,
everything
yeah.
retroactively,
Fingers
which is
McGee,
nice.
man.
Fingers McGee.
Fingers McGee, indeed.
Ha.
And then, yeah, is there, to the question here for Zayd, is there a defining piece of Spider-Man media in anybody's life that you think of like, bam, that's the thing?
I mean, for me, it would be the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. It would
Hell
be
yeah.
the $100 million production that's like, wow, we're finally getting a real superhero movie. Because up until that point, we'd had like, I guess we had a Blade. I don't know if we'd had X-Men movies.
X-Men
X-Men had happened.
Yeah.
Had
Because remember
Catch
the X-Men DVD had that Easter egg where they do the Spider-Man blooper.
That's right. So I just remember thinking, wow, that X-Men movie was like weird and not good.
It was great.
And
Fuck you. At the time, it was great.
I walked out of it and I thought to myself, I really hope that they decide to do a 23 movie run up until the Endgame, to like the Infinity Gauntlet saga, because this is just trash that they're giving us right now, right?
This is
Get
back
out
to
of
where I was
here.
driving a second ago with the Spawn thing of why I don't know shit about Spawn cartoon or whatever. Is that like I was so you want to talk about fanboys, like line in the sand fanboy. I wouldn't support comic properties if they weren't DC. So like in the Spider-Man.
So you never watched the Spawn cartoon?
No. I never
Dude.
did that. But it was like X-Men and Spider-Man of the 90s got a pass because I was reading Spidey books and I liked Spidey and I knew that. It was when they did the Clone Saga for Spider-Man. And like, again, I've been reading this and I'm a kid, I've been reading Spider-Man since Spider-Man 1 with McFarlane. I've gone back and done my research. I'm going forward and stuff. And then they get to the Clone Saga where it's like, turns out Peter Parker that we've known all along has actually been the clone, and Ben Reilly, who is hiding, was actually the real Peter Parker. So they'll just switch places and blow up his marriage. And I'm like, fuck this. I'm like, I will not support this garbage. You're
Oh,
ruining
man.
Peter's life. I won't have it.
Andy, when he said the Clone Saga, did you think,
Clone Wars.
why did Obi-Wan bring him in? If only Obi-Wan had said, no, I don't have what it takes to train him, we could have been fine.
If only.
Could've been
Yeah,
great.
but there was this whole
Only.
this whole trade federation business going on, or some shit they had to solve.
Terror.
You, real talk, I
The
mean, I know
Mandalorian.
there's
The Gungans, they were pissed off.
I know there's way too many
Stampy,
games to be
Stampy.
playing right now, and I know that your time is limited. But if
Yeah.
you ever need an interesting watch, the Spawn series on HBO, I think is still there. I don't know if it made it over from Max or not, but I watched it a few years back, and I was like, I wonder if this is as good as I thought it was. It's still as it's. Still
I
good.
remember the shock and awe in Poe's face when he discovered at the time I was reading the novelization of the Spawn movie. And he's like, "You're supporting a non-DC thing?" And I was like, "Yes, in the stupidest way possible."
That's what his problem was with
yeah,
it.
yeah. No, where he's a dumb kid too. He doesn't understand that this
Okay.
is awful. Why am I reading the Spawn novelization?
That is so
All these
funny.
award-winning comic books. And I'm like, I'll read the I really need to wrap my head around this character.
Man, I wonder if they're gonna make another Spawn.
Guaranteed.
I'm always out of the loop, but that Spawn movie unfortunately just didn't come together very well. But that property is
It was
so
still
rad.
cool shit to me though. Like being that young to where I couldn't decipher what was good between movies or bad between like
Yeah.
that Spawn live action movie was just awesome as shit. Terrible graphics, looked like Mortal Kombat CG. It was awesome.
Man, I can't wait. Yeah,
John Leguizamo as the clown. Like,
he did a good job.
It's really cool.
Hot off of his Mario movie.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Back to back dynasty and genre defining bangers right there.
That's the bone.
I'd say like the defining piece of Spider-Man media for me.
Uh-huh.
Again, I know we had like a lot of good stuff before it and stuff that kind of like, whoa, this is a superhero on screen. I really think that Spider-Man showing up in Civil War after that sort of merger is made okay and Marvel and Sony becoming like friendly again, that is still one of the coolest things to experience in theaters. Like,
well, especially when you
after knowing that Andrew Garfield's trilogy was down the toilet and like
Dead.
that wasn't going to continue,
Yeah.
and you know that, oh man, I hope Marvel's doing such a good job with all these movies. I hope that they play. I hope Sony plays nice with them. I hope they give them give Spider-Man to Marvel, please, Sony. You're just pleading to God, and then you start seeing all these rumors about who's in the final castings for Spider-Man. Like, oh my god, this is so exciting, and to get that Brooklyn thing or Queens, what
Brooklyn.
pops?
I think.
Queen's pops.
Was
It was
I thought
Queens, yeah,
it was a
Queen
Brooklyn
in
guy.
Civil
Cap
War.
is Brooklyn, Queens is Spider.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
To get the big Queens pop and go, oh my god, we're about to see Spider-Man, and the way it's all done.
But that was
the-
such. I still feel bad about that because that ruined the movie for me. Because if you remember my first viewing of that, the joke goes on in review or whatever, which wasn't a joke, but like I'm watching this fucking movie, and I've at one point leaned over to Tim, like, it's been 45 minutes. Where the fuck's Spider-Man? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, all I wanted to get to was fucking Spider-Man. Like, you know what I mean? I was invested.
You'd seen it in the trailer, right? We
Yeah,
know
oh,
that,
yeah,
but it was
yeah.
that. It was
Hey, everybody.
that iconic scene where it's like he grabs the shield and flips through him. You're like, what?
And it was
Even
one
that
of the worst
moment.
intros also. Like in that "Hey everybody" line, I was like, "Oh, I don't like this. Please don't do this to me."
Yeah, but
But
you
it
get
was
you get the banger line where he's like, "Hey, in fights, people usually don't talk this much."
Yeah.
It's such a good.
You got a metal
good-
arm? That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, one of the definitive Spider-Mans or Spider Media for sure is Tom Holland's performance and everything else.
Yeah.
And what they've done there, and I think the way MCU Spider-Man, let alone to build a Far From Home, and what amazing thing that was to tie that all up.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I remember like the Spider-Man movie. That we had other stuff, and you look back now, and I know you guys are. I think not you guys. I forget who on this panel was way harder on him than I was, or whatever. But like, I remember leaving Spider-Man 2 and calling my ex-girlfriend, and she was like, "How was it?" I was like, "I can't stop smiling." Like, they did everything I'd want in that movie. It was just fucking insane. They fucking crushed it. And it was like so cool to see that kind of Spider-Man on screen and really kick off. I think where we're going with superhero movies,
James
Yeah.
Franco really made it whole.
like strawberry pie. That was 3, but it's all the same. Yeah.
Do you think it was James Franco, or do you think it's that one iconic scene from
Macy
Tobey
Gray.
Maguire where he goes like this?
You think you know who you are?
Do you think you know?
You think-
What are your guys' hype then for Spider-Verse?
Well, up until last week, I was like, I'm looking forward to it. But going back and watching Into the Spider-Verse and just seeing how beautifully well that movie came together, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited to be watching that this week. Very, very, very looking forward to it. It's one of those things I have absolutely no touchstone for Miles Morales. This movie came out of.
Now you do.
Well, now I do, but when I watched that movie originally, I was like, I know Miles Morales' character. I don't understand how he fits into the greater MCU. What we're getting into multiverse things, which more often than not does not interest me because it really takes a lot of the stakes away from what's going on. But the way they did that movie and the way they made it such a good personal story for Miles Morales, and I don't want to say reinvented the origin story, but they kind of did, and they play with that, how everyone's got their origin story, and it immediately endears you to all of them. I'm just excited to see where it's going to go. Very excited.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
I'm excited to see where
I'm taking a swing.
patreon.com/kindafunny goes. You're taking 20?
I'm taking the swing. Don't worry about him.
Taking the
I'm bringing
twang.
my own 20 because I can't trust you
Oh
anymore.
my god, it's a mega twang.
Oh my god, it's a mega twang. Patreon.com/kindafunny, of course, keeps the mics, the lights, and the twang coming. If you like that, so you can go over there and you get the show ad free. You can get a bunch of bonus content. You can watch us record the podcast live as we record them, just like Felipe is, Melissa is, Cody is, Cameron is, Matthew is. But if you're not watching on patreon.com/kindafunny, here's a word from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. It's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you and never take a moment to think about what you need from yourself. I know this from experience, how often it just seems easier to care about others and to keep it moving. But when we spend all of our time giving, it can leave us feeling stretched thin and burnt out. Therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. Some of my very best friends use BetterHelp and love how helpful it can be for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapist anytime for no additional charge. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/kindafunny today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/kindafunny.
Of course, you can support us. Patreon. Get all the bonuses I've said before. You can also write in for free. kindafunny.com/KF podcast, just like Jacek did. Jacek writes in and says, I believe it's been long enough with the studio open and the whole Kinda Funny crew working together that I must ask again, who annoys Joey the most in the office?
Oh, it's that time of the year.
As soon
huh?
as you started the question, it was from Jacek. I was like, I bet you
Hit
know
the
where
theme
this
song.
is.
Who annoys Joey more? Is it Kevin or Nick?
Is it Kevin?
Or-
Listen.
I
If
feel
you
like
would have asked me any other day,
Yeah.
I might have
You
had a
say this
different
every
answer.
time.
No, I slacked literally Roger today while we had like an awkward amount of time between things. So Kevin's laying on the couch with like Cool Greg or whatever, and I slacked
Were
Roger.
they spooning?
Yeah. Oh no, they were just like talking on the couch in the chair, and I was like, just when you think Kevin's gonna stop talking, he pops in with another food thought, and like, it was one of. I feel like we've had those days where we just have people are trying to get stuff done, and Kevin just like we just put a nice little bow on the fun conversation we're having, and then Kevin like keeps going, and he. God bless Kevin and Cool Greg could talk for hours about nothing and everything at the same time, just constantly talking. And I was just like, I think Roger does the same thing I do, where sometimes I just put on my headphones to get out of I'm not even listening to anything. I just I can't be in this conversation anymore.
It's to play devil's advocate for a second. Sometimes when you're in between shows, you got to keep the energy up, and the only way to do that is like I need to engage someone. I need to talk to you. I got to bug Andy. I'm trying to keep.
Kevin was just
I'm
killing time
guilty
till
of
he
this.
left.
Kevin's like, I
talk.
thought he was on this. I thought he was running this, and then
No.
30 minutes he goes, "Well, see you guys later," and then just left. And I was like, "You just."
It's funny too because I was running an XCast thing in the lab, and like right before that, he's like, "Yeah, like I'm gonna head out soon," and then eventually I popped out like 40 minutes later just to check up on something, and he was still on the couch, and that's when he said, "Oh, I'm finally gonna leave." It's like we've been doing for the last 40 minutes.
So
Laying here?
What?
I want
So
to.
funny.
I brought this up on Games Daily. When
We had a
me,
great games the other day.
Great Games Daily. Great Games Daily, Greg.
Good job.
On Friday, me and Nick were playing through Mass Effect, and we're doing Nick's first playthrough of Mass Effect.
No, you brought it. It was the day before that. If you're talking about the Zelda story.
No, well, that happened too.
Okay.
But today, but Friday, Kevin, it's like he's playing Tears of the Kingdom in the background, and we know he's playing
Of course.
a game in the background. And because of that, it's like I need to be more talkative in order to show them
you off,
that
throw
the
you off.
game isn't pulling me away from
Right.
it. When really you shouldn't, like you should just be running.
Yeah,
right?
you should not be
You're
playing
just
the
kind of running the show, right? But Friday, Kevin was like extra talkative, and he like to the point where I'm
That's
just
a great
trying
job,
to,
Nick.
I'm just trying to talk to Nick about the game, and Kevin's doing his. I'm like, God, I'm thinking like, God, Kevin won't shut up right now. This is crazy. The show ends, Nick. And Kevin walks out. He's like, man, that coffee really fucked me up, man. And he-
So that was on me. That was on me because Kevin sometimes, as a team building thing, I'll be like, "Who in the stream team needs like a little extra pick me up?" Right?
Hey, you
Mike,
do it for
like-
the entire office.
I
Yeah.
do, but I
genuinely appreciate
I
that.
like to start it with the team. You know, we're about
Sure.
to go into 3-hour gameplay. You know, we got to keep the energy up. There's the three of us. And Kevin goes, "You know what?" I was like, "Do you want your normal shaken espresso oatmeal drink?" And he's like, "Dude, they fuck it up every time." He's like, "Can you just give me a cold brew?" And then he's all of a sudden like, I look over and he's vibrating through the fucking wall like the Flash because the cold brew's too much. Today, I was like, we go to get the propane tank, which we had to go 15 different places for.
Yeah.
I'm like, Kev, we went to the Lucky. I was like, we're gonna go. There's a Starbucks right there. I'm getting an iced coffee. Do you want something? And he had the biggest crisis I've ever seen him go through because he was like, I want a cold brew, but the last one fucked me up real bad.
It-
And he's like, I don't know, maybe no, maybe I don't do that.
It
I
was like
"You're
in an
insane?"
episode where an actor is like crazy hyper and just erratic for a whole episode, and then you find out by the end of it, like
It's like they're doing the
like
reverse.
the cocaine actually accidentally got into
It was
his, like
he thought it was powdered sugar. but
exactly like it
cocaine.
was one of those things where I'm like, man, Kevin is
I made
just
that
like
mistake.
just won't stop right now. What is going on? And then to have him talk to like I hear him just kind of having a side conversation. I think it was Barrett or Roger, and like, man, that coffee, man, I am fucking vibrating, dude. That coffee got.
It's so funny.
And it's so funny to like then think back to like, God, that's why.
That's
'Cause
what it was.
if y'all just go back and watch like the last hour of that episode, and I swear me and Nick could not get a word in. It was like Kevin was just nonstop. And he was like, it's my birthday. I want you all to subscribe. I want you all to subscribe. And then once we hit the goal, he was like, all right, I'm leaving. He got up.
Bounced. Which is hilarious because it was just I thought it was great energy. I thought we had a great time.
It was a lot of
fun stream.
energy. It was a lot of energy.
Yeah, when Kevin's on one, it's hilarious. though.
If we're
It's so
sharing
hilarious.
stories, one that hasn't been shared on content, as far as I know, is possibly one of the best just ditch out of a conversation moments I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Oh God, is it me? Did
No,
I
it's
do this?
not
Okay.
surprisingly. It's Andy Cortez,
Oh.
where Mike had his feet up on the desk and was trying to get a little bit more Diablo in before the review. and Andy's standing at his desk, and basically think of a triangle. Mike's over on the right, Andy's the tip of the triangle, and Nick's over on the left. And Andy sees Mike doing. He's like, Mike, how much of this game you think you played? And Mike's like, you mean like now or overall? And Andy's literally like, overall. And as he says overall, turns, looks at Nick, and then starts a conversation with Nick. At which point, Mike goes, that's a great question. Across the 3 betas, for the first time I did that, and I took a bob of it, and it's this, Mike monologues. At least a minute, maybe a minute and a half. And finally finally Mike, not only does Mike finish his monologue, Andy and Nick had finished their conversation, and Andy had forgot that he'd ask any question. I mean, as soon as Andy said overall, he forgot that he asked the fucking question.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, Andy's just working at his desk, and I'm watching them both. And Mike finishes, and he's like, yeah, so that's about it. Why? What? And I just go, he stopped listening before the first, you took a breath and he was gone. I got home and I was trying to explain it to Jen. I was like, it would be akin to like, hey, do you want to go to In-N-Out? Mike gets in the car, Andy starts the car, puts it in drive, and climbs out and walks away. It doesn't even think that that's odd. Like, that is how this entire situation went.
So funny. I don't want to take credit for more of Andy's hard work, but I feel like I asked you a question because I wasn't paying attention.
Well, I mean, it's
and I asked you something as you asked that question, and then I totally diverted your conversation.
Well, it's funny because Nick was just being like stupid Nick, and this is a sort of glimpse into the ADHD at work.
Yeah.
Where what was I opening while I asked Mike that question? I was opening my bottle of Adderall to take my
Oh God, it's like a commercial for Adderall.
to take my dose for the day.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I'm opening the bottle, and Nick, just being Nick, always has to look at me whenever I'm doing something on my desk.
You know
but
what
in
it
this
is?
case, he sees a pill bottle, so he's like, "What's up, man? What you got in there?" Like just doing like a little like drug joke or whatever.
Let me get one.
And I was like, "What's up, man? Yeah, fuck it. It's like caffeine is." And so like as soon as I asked Mike that question,
I got a barbarian, you know, right?
Meanwhile, to set the stage, Mike has transitioned over from his normal standing desk. Mike normally is
he has
standing
a
at a desk.
laying desk now.
He's got a standing desk that he has one of those little teeter-totter things so he can keep his balance, like burn extra calories. He has transitioned over to Sleepy Mike, where he's in the chair that everyone saw today on the stream,
gamer
the
chair.
gamer
So
chair with
comfy.
like, and he's dropped the desk down, so he has his back to Andy, has no idea that Andy's not paying attention at all. Meanwhile, Andy, I make a joke because I hear the pill bottle, and I, of course, have to make a dumb
Gotta
stupid
make a
drug
joke
joke.
about pills.
Hey, Andy, let me get one of those. Andy goes, "You want one?" And I freak out. I start panicking. I'm like, I can't. It's not prescribed to me. I don't know. I have to take this doctor's supervision. God, I'm such a.
I was
wuss.
like, it's caffeine, man. I was like doing, but it was like legitimately like,
pills.
Mike, how much of that game have you played? What in this in total? Yeah, just in total. Pill bottle. And he was yeah, what's up, man? It's fucking- like it was so fast, and then I didn't
Literally, you made it look like, but it would have been like, yeah, and like as all came out, your
think
eyes
you got
went
2
there,
and a
and you
half words
somehow,
out.
while saying overall, said whatever Nick needed to hear. It was like this perfect thing to just leave Snowbike Mike laying in the goddamn dirt on this conversation. Just hang him out to dry.
I felt so bad.
You know what it was for me though? It was I saw the pill, and it looked like a real ass pill, and I was like, I can't do that. That's really scary to me.
It's a real medicinal looking pill.
Well, it's like it looks like something from like Destiny. It's very weird. Like the way it's not cut like a pill. It's like it's like square. It's weird.
He gave you
It's
Viagra.
scary to me. Do you give me some blue chews or whatever?
Give me a Zyrtec. No, I didn't give him anything.
I took a Zyrtec today. for the
I'm
first
like
Did you?
so scared about this stock of Adderall. By the way, I was just telling Greg that I was like,
Why?
I'll tell you why I'm tired. I haven't taken any Adderall. Why?
Let's cut pop
Because
Pilates.
I
Set
know
it up.
there's going to be another shortage. I know that I'm going to get a notification. They're going to be like, hey, sorry, you won't get an Adderall for another year. And I want to save the pills that I have for Summer Game Fest.
cut 'em up?
So I can sell them.
Yeah.
No, because like
Fund the
I
trip.
know I'm going to need the most energy and like attentiveness when I'm on, 5 hours of sleep every night when we go to LA.
What caused the shortage? Just
No idea.
everyone suddenly
There was
getting
a
prescribed online,
bill
or
that got signed in that like limited the amount that they could import.
It's
I
like the
believe.
microchip shortage. you know?
And then they
Oh.
also I think the domino effect from that is that they also limited and eliminated, I think, the ability for you to get it via telehealth.
oh wait, wouldn't that
Because of
wouldn't that
the-
make more?
No, because of the import shortage.
Oh, so the import shortage caused it first, and then you couldn't go online and just
Yeah.
get
So now everybody just seems to be scrambling between.
Oh,
those
so it's like, the financial crisis is going to happen, so everyone pulls their money out of the banks and then causes the financial crisis, sort of
Yeah.
I
thing.
think that's
Like, great,
some-
that's
I
interesting.
think it's something like that.
I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by the whole thing because I have a lot of friends that are on Adderall, and they're like, they freak out. But is it done? Is there no more shortage?
I don't.
I
Believe
thought
so.
that we had kind of crossed that hill, but I'm just also paranoid that we haven't. So that's why I'm like, all right,
Stockpiling it.
Just sock it away.
I take
Like a
half
sponge.
I take half a pill a day. Do I have enough to last me? Yes, I will. If I don't take any more until then.
That would scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Because you know what, I think immediately to the pills that I take every day, my hair medication. If I couldn't get that, it would be bad.
Take my hair medication at night, and I wake up and I take my Adderall, and I'm like, wow, I'm a new person.
I'm so perfect.
I'm attentive. I'm listening. Greg, I'm looking at you. I'm listening.
What's up, brother?
But now that I'm on it, I'm like, I'm not looking at you right now. I'm not listening.
Yeah, sure.
2 things to put on your radar.
Okay, please.
1, still need to figure out this whole joint vasectomy thing that we're gonna do.
I have a doctor's appointment. I think next week.
To do it.
Well, not to get. I think it's a consultation or whatever. I gotta be like to my GP.
Are
be
you
like,
taking
yo,
Nick with you?
Can you FaceTime me?
Sure. Can you write a note for me, and my coworker, to get vasectomies?
I don't know if you guys are on that concept, but Greg and I are
No.
joking around about getting joint vasectomies where we're both on the table together and there's just the little curtain in front of us so we can't see what's going on, but Mike has to film it. I'm just curious.
I was thinking we could
You're
could do that where we
curious.
hold each other's hands, sure, but it could go the other way where
You do it for
cut
me,
my
I do it
cord,
for
I
you.
cut your cord. You know what I mean? Where do I aim, Doc?
It's funny because I'm 43 now. I don't intend to have children, and I don't know why I'm so adverse to getting the vasectomy. Because I feel like, why
That's a lot
not?
of work.
Is it?
Is
a lot
there a
of
reason
work?
I-
It's like a day, and then you go
Oh
back to
no,
work
but I
2
mean,
days
like,
later.
take the vasectomy, this doctor's appointment in general, the dentist, haircuts. They're all just a waste of my fucking time.
Wow.
I'm
Agreed.
so goddamn busy already. I don't want to schedule in the thing because inevitably what happened? I scheduled this doctor's appointment. I booted it because
Doctor
I was
says
like,
balls
whatever.
are too big.
Then I looked at the thing and I moved it. And guess what?
Big balls.
There's a Diablo stream that's supposed to be all day long.
Yeah, sorry,
Well,
buddy.
motherfucker, I don't want to pull out. I want to be there all day long with Mike. And you
That's
guys. I
why
don't-
you want to get a vasectomy.
Yeah, you
You
gotta
don't
play
wanna
your
pull
game.
out. Come on. Hey.
You know what I mean?
Bada bing.
I'm the same way when it comes to anything.
I like
You guys
my
are so
teeth. I like the dentist. I don't mind the dentist. It's just like another. I gotta go to. I had an appointment all
carving
set.
out the
Then they
time
needed
for
me
it.
to move it, and I moved it, and then I forget what happened. I'm like, I'm not gonna do
I had
it.
a great surprise the other day. I went to the dentist, get a filling redone,
Money.
or so I thought.
Oh.
Because insurance doesn't cover all the filling
Sure,
redone.
sure.
I'm getting these all the silver fillings that I have in my head that are supposedly slowly poisoning me.
Sure.
I'm trying to get them out. So I think we scheduled the next one in May. I had some done in January. Come
Did
in.
you ask the dentist, like, what's the deadline on the whole poisoning thing?
So I was like, I go in there and I was like, okay, I'm ready. It started numbing me. She goes, what do you mean? I was like, I'm here for the filling to be redone. And she goes, oh no, you don't need that done. I was like, I'll take another look, but you're good. You got another 6 months to a year on that bad boy. And I'm like, that feeling of like you thought you had that big assignment and you
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
do the assignment, but then it's a snow day or whatever it is, or something happens. You get.
Yeah.
I was
Get an email
so-
from the professor.
I was so fucking happy that it was just a normal cleaning. And then
You're like,
I was
"Keep it
like,
out of there.
yeah, but then I was like, wait a minute, it is silver,
so
right? Is it
right.
bad for you? She goes, you're fine. It's not gonna wear around. They're not gonna consume enough of it in
But
the next
trust
6
me,
months.
you've done a lot of other stuff that probably isn't gonna kill you before this.
Well, because I read somewhere that if you have the silver fillings, it makes you lose your hair. And in my brain, I'm like, if I get this last one taken out, I'm gonna wake up the next day, like there's gonna be so much hair on my head. So I'm like, let's get it out right now. She's like, you don't need it. You're
Just
fine.
so overnight.
But I'm shocked with you, Greg, because obviously you're a very efficient person. You work probably more than any other person I know on this planet.
Yeah.
I'm shocked you don't like the haircut. I'm shocked you don't like the getting in there, getting pampered, like a little hot towel massage, get the haircut done.
I finally broke. Like I got a haircut last night. Yeah, last
Yeah.
night, and it was
Is
just
Jen
because
still
I
doing
was.
it, though?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, I can't do it anymore. Like Jen, you got to cut my hair because I just hate it. I have too much hair. I'm doing the thing where I'm playing with it all in the back. I'm like, just get it off my head.
Yeah.
And like Jen would do it anytime I want, but usually it is the thing of like, I don't want to waste our time together when Ben's asleep. Like, well, let's go enjoy a movie or whatever we're gonna do. I don't want to waste my time alone. I don't want this eating into my video game time. You know, I need to go to bed, Jen. Don't be cutting my hair. There's a lot of things happening in there. But then if I was still doing a normal barber, it'd be the same thing of like, you got to schedule it. They're all busy these days.
Oh, they're easy now. The pandemic crushed the barber industry. It's so easy to get an appointment now.
I'm thinking of like going to get my hair cut for Summer Game Fest for
Oh.
the like
For the first time ever?
For the first time I've
You are not
walked in to get a haircut since I was like 17.
Really?
16.
What are you gonna do, mullet?
No, the same thing I do now, but like professional. Like
There's no way someone's gonna be able to replicate that. It's
what? I mean, it's just fade up. Like just fade up.
I would not let them touch the top of it then,
Sure.
because
Yeah.
they're gonna go.
I mean,
Because it's gonna happen. You're like, I just want a little bit
I
off
want them
top,
to like feather it, like kind of do the like texture.
but they're not gonna do the emo way.
texturize it.
I feel like it's a big dice roll to do it before Summer Game Fest when I feel like there's
I
a
haven't
lot
had
on the
this done
line.
before,
Yeah,
yeah.
like that's
Yeah,
a.
dude.
What if I
ballsy
just
first
show
time.
them a picture and be like, hey, just,
Keanu Reeves.
or what if I just told them like, hey,
Chris Hemsworth.
like,
What's her?
I wish I could like Photoshop, like do a Photoshop mask. I could be like, hey, everything in the red, don't touch, but this is open. You know what I
You
mean?
just tell them to fade up the sides and don't touch the top.
Fade up
That'll
the
be
sides.
fine.
You could have Alyssa do it as well. Because she knows your hair very well. Like we see you, we hang out with you and stuff, and she kind of knows what the boundaries are, and she would understand of just taking a little bit off the top, not too much where it takes away the shape of what you've built over the last couple of years.
But I'll tell you
the
what.
legacy I've been building.
Yeah, exactly.
Counterpoint to that though, if she messes it up, you have to move out.
Yeah.
You can't
Well,
live there anymore.
she's too scared to
She
mess
pays
up
your
because the
rent.
first time she ever cut my hair, there was an accidental bzz,
Oh,
I've been there.
and then I just told her to shave my head. And
what do you mean,
that-
skin? Like she cut skin?
No, she didn't cut
Oh,
skin, but
she did it wrong.
She got like way like buzz cut on the back of my head, and then I told her to just shave my head, and that's why she won't let me shave my head ever again. Even though I feel like I'm out there.
The only reason
at
why
that
I've been
point.
thinking of like visiting the guy that Mike goes to is because they do a very, very good job. The shit that like you see on TikTok where it's like these guys charge like $80 for a fucking fade, and it's because it is like
Super clean.
pristine, look like a machine. Goddamn, did it.
Mike
like,
Fade was.
and I also want like straighten up the back, which I never ever do because I just always just get like a 5 on the razor and just kind of go up and fade into a 7. You know, like that's basically all I do. I just want that shit to look dialed in, Nick. Dialed in.
I feel you. I mean, I love going to the barber. I love this for you.
Get a Floby, says Nick Gallegos.
You could do that. I like my favorite thing is my barber, the guy I use now, does my fade for me, but he does it the way I like them to do it, right? Which he starts the line first of where the skin's
Yeah.
gonna be. So he goes, hold still, and he goes, "Wow," and he puts it right where this little widow's peak is right here, down, and he'll shave that in first. So if he just stopped there, I would look like a 1980s like footballer.
Yeah.
Because it would just be like massive hair and then just boom, like cut down. And every once in a while, I'm like, just stop.
Tempted.
Let me just do that. Let me just walk out looking like this, like a crazy person.
Are you gonna hate it if something goes awry and you have to go to Summer
Yeah, it's gonna
Game
suck.
Fest?
Oh man, I'm gonna be
Jeff
so
Keighley's
sad.
gonna look you in the eyes and be like,
Get
I
the
want to
fuck
talk
outta
to you, but
here.
your hair looks dumb. Fucking dumb.
Smacks you. Get the
Stupid
fuck
ass
outta
hair, this
here.
guy.
This fucking guy thought he
I'm
was
just
thought he
like
was real.
Yeah.
sad in the club, whatever. Maybe we're at a club. I don't know.
We going to a club? I don't think so. I don't have that booked on our
A bar,
SGF
maybe?
thing. Yeah, a bar for sure. There'll be
Okay.
bars.
For sure, though, in order to do this and make it feel like E3, you have to go to one party that's a little too loud. You have
Sure.
to do it.
Fair
Isn't
enough.
that all of them?
Nailed it.
I remember there was one E3 when everyone's like, "We got to get into the IGN party, IGN party, IGN party."
So loud.
And I walked up to try and get in line for it, and I heard it how loud it was, and I was like, "No."
What
Gonna go.
honestly, what I think
I don't want this.
happened on the IGN like kind of floor, I think I think John Wick was murdering people and shooting people, and we didn't hear a goddamn thing.
It sounded like somebody was controlling the volume of the music from their phone and forgot, and was in the room next door or like the building next door and just hit it a couple times and didn't realize it was
Yeah.
that fucking loud. It was so loud. I never need it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to Summer Game Fest next week.
Woo!
Andy, next week is SGF. Can you believe it?
It's fast.
We'll have stories for you. The podcast after that is Mike singing in the other room? Is Snowback Mike singing really loudly?
Singing Wanted Dead or Alive, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, he's singing. He's very sound. Listen to the Kind of Funny podcast, ladies and gentlemen, each and every week. 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each coming to trade stories with each other. If you want to ask us questions, you can go to kindoffunny.com/KF podcast to be part of the show. Of course, you can get it ad-free. You can get it as we record it live on patreon.com/kindafunny. If you have no bucks to toss our way, it's no big deal. Of course, you can get on youtube.com/kindafunny and podcast services around the globe. It's the Zyrtec. I feel like I got
Dries you
dry
out.
mouth. I'm blaming the Zyrtec.
Antihistamine.
Dude, real talk. When I got those like
Histamine
styes in my
means wet
eyes,
mouth.
I was taking a Zyrtec every day, and I thought maybe I should stop taking antihistamines because it was drying out all my.
Claritin
stuff.
don't do this to me. I'm a Claritin boy. All right.
Fuck Claritin.
What?
Zyrtec or die, bro.
You just heard what Zyrtec did to me? You hear the performance? I couldn't say YouTube.
Yeah, but you know, if would you rather it be good and you die 2 years later, or
Yeah.
just kind of work for the rest of your life?
It's kind of work, probably. If you got no bucks, toss away, youtube.com/kindafunny. I already said that. Podcast services around the globe. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.